When you think of the biggest rivals during the Cold War, your mind probably goes to the United States and the Soviet Union. These two nations were at the center of the global conflict that defined the latter half of the 20th century. But what if I told you that there was another nation that almost became a superpower during this time? Enter the USA. Throughout the early years of the Cold War, the United States and Russia were so focused on each other that they did unnoticed this small but significant detail. Both of them had completely different forms of government. The US was a democracy, and the USSR was a communist state. This fundamental difference in ideology led to a lot of mistrust between the two nations. Each side saw itself as a champion of its way of life, and it was inevitable that they would clash. But it wasn't just their ideologies that set these two apart. They also had very different systems of government. The US had a president as its head of state, while the USSR had a prime minister. This may seem like a small distinction, but it actually had major implications for how each nation was governed. For example, in the US, the president was elected by the people and was therefore more accountable to them than the prime minister was in the USSR. The Russian prime minister was appointed by the Communist Party, which meant that he was more loyal to the party than to the people he was supposed to be serving. These differences in ideology and system of government made it very difficult for the United States and Russia to find common ground. They were so busy trying to discredit each other's way of life that they didn't take the time to get to know each other better. If they had done so, they might have realized that they had more in common than they thought. But instead, they remained locked in an ideological struggle that eventually led to the use of weapons of mass destruction. As the Cold War dragged on, the animosity between the two superpowers only grew. They engaged in a massive arms race, each trying to get more weapons than the other. They also supported opposing sides in various conflicts around the world. For example, the US supported South Korea, while the USSR supported North Korea. When North Korea invaded South Korea in 1950, it looked like the conflict might turn hot. The US and USSR were so close to starting a nuclear war that many people believe it was only by sheer luck that they didn't. In the end, the Cold War would come to an end with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, but the legacy of this conflict still lives on today. The fact that the two superpowers were so willing to destroy each other shows just how dangerous ideology can be. If we don't learn from this, we may be doomed to repeat it. Thanks for watching.